A woman named Violet is struggling to rebuild her life after escaping an abusive relationship. She lives with her young son Toby and is supported by her sister Jen. Violet is trying to regain confidence through therapy, where she's encouraged to reclaim her voice and identity. With Jen's encouragement, Violet agrees to go on a date with Henry, a kind and persistent man she's been talking to online for a few months. Though nervous, she prepares for the evening, leaving Toby in Jen's care and heading to a chic downtown restaurant for the date. At the restaurant, Violet arrives first. As she waits at the bar, she receives strange digital image drops from someone nearby using a file-sharing app. Though unnerving, she brushes them off. Henry arrives and the two hit it off. He's charming, patient, and respectful. They joke with the waiter, Matt, who is on his first shift and nervously enthusiastic. As the night unfolds, the drops continue, becoming more personal and disturbing. One image reveals knowledge of her name and face. Violet tries to remain calm but becomes visibly anxious. The couple tries to determine who in the restaurant might be sending the drops. Henry helps her look around and even asks the staff about her missing watch, which she suspects might have fallen off during the night. Violet becomes more paranoid and excuses herself to the restroom, where she receives a terrifying message demanding that she follow through on a mysterious, threatening task. The messages hint that someone is watching her and may be holding her son hostage. Panicked, Violet tries to call for help but the call is cut off. She begins to suspect the date was orchestrated or compromised. The tension mounts as Violet pretends to keep her composure and rejoins Henry. The drops escalate and imply that she has to kill someone or someone she loves will die. She's horrified and confused. Still unsure of Henry's role in all this, she tries to read his behavior. He remains warm and unaware of her fear. Violet leaves again to try to regroup, nearly breaking down in the restroom. She interacts with some teenage girls, trying to borrow eyeliner to create a distraction. She then pleads through her phone messages to whoever is threatening her, saying she has fulfilled her end and begging for her son's safety. Back at the table, Henry is confused but concerned. He gently encourages Violet to stay and relax, sensing something is wrong but unaware of the true nature of the threat. Violet tries to push through, acting like everything is fine. The drops continue. They try to order dinner but Violet is distracted and unnerved by the hostess's mention that their specific table had been reserved under Henry's name, which he denies. Violet starts to suspect that Henry might not be who he claims to be. However, he continues to act kindly and supportively, even asking to move their table to make her feel safer. After seeing a digital image of what might be her son's toy or something from inside her house, Violet realizes the threat is real and immediate. She goes to the hostess, trying to confirm if someone else had a specific table reservation, but is told that everything is in order. Violet tries to contact emergency services but the call is blocked. She is trapped. The waiter returns with their appetizer and awkwardly tries to maintain a pleasant atmosphere. Violet considers leaving, but Henry gently insists that she stay. He seems sincere. A moment of emotional clarity between them shifts the tone and Violet, terrified but unwilling to show it, agrees to sit back down. She seems to make a decision, possibly to take control or face whatever is coming. The evening continues under a veil of tension. Violet requests Baby Shark from the piano player, a song her son loves, perhaps as a signal or to ground herself. The small moment of comfort is pierced by the continued drops. Henry remains attentive, trying to choose wine and joke with the waiter. Violet smiles through the terror, unsure of what is real, who she can trust, and what might happen next. Her quiet strength holds, even as the night edges toward a confrontation she can't yet predict. The evening starts off seemingly normal, with food being served and casual conversation exchanged. Violet seems a bit anxious and distracted, repeatedly checking her phone. Henry notices but tries to stay relaxed and focused on enjoying the date. The atmosphere shifts when another diner, Phil, begins acting erratically, smashing piano keys and collapsing, leading to a brief disruption in the restaurant. Phil blames the incident on alcohol, but it becomes clear that something deeper is at play. Violet remains visibly shaken, and as she goes to the bar to get tequila shots as a light-hearted reset to the strange night, we begin to sense her involvement in something more serious. As Violet talks to the bartender, her nerves become more evident. Back at the table, Henry begins confronting her gently about her odd behavior and insinuates that something is going on. He suspects there is more to Violet's anxiety than just first-date nerves. Eventually, Violet opens up emotionally, describing her traumatic past with an abusive husband named Blake. She explains the immense guilt she carries for not leaving him sooner and for allowing her son, Toby, to witness the abuse. Henry responds with empathy and understanding, revealing he too has experienced betrayal and guilt in a different context. This moment of shared vulnerability seems to bond them. Meanwhile, tension escalates. Violet is clearly hiding something, and it becomes evident that she's being monitored. We are introduced to Richard, a charming but sinister man seated at a nearby table. It turns out he's orchestrating something dark and dangerous. Richard begins to toy with Violet, revealing that he knows about her past, her son, and the current situation. He threatens Toby's life unless Violet ensures that Henry drinks one of the shots she brought back to the table. The implication is clear: the drink is poisoned, and Henry is being targeted because he possesses crucial evidence, an SD card containing photos that implicate powerful people in a corruption scandal. Violet is torn. Her maternal instincts are in direct conflict with her moral compass. She's forced into a harrowing dilemma: kill Henry to save her son or try to outmaneuver Richard and his network. As the pressure mounts, she cleverly fakes poisoning the drink. She switches the poisoned shot and gives it to Richard instead, revealing in a moment of confrontation that she never intended to go through with his plan. This bold defiance sparks chaos in the restaurant as Richard, realizing he's been tricked, lashes out violently, pulling a gun and trying to kill both Violet and Henry. A dramatic and intense fight breaks out, leading to a sequence of bloody and desperate action. Richard is fatally wounded, but before dying, he reveals that one of his men is already at Violet's home, targeting her son. Violet rushes out of the restaurant in a frantic attempt to save Toby. With the help of a friendly staff member and some quick thinking, she races against time, eventually arriving at her home just in time to stop the attacker and rescue her son. A brutal showdown occurs, ending with the intruder's death and Toby being saved. The aftermath reveals that the attempted murder of Henry and the plot against Violet and her son are tied to a broader conspiracy involving the mayor's office and embezzlement. The evidence Henry had, combined with the fallout of the violent incident, begins unraveling the corruption. News reports begin surfacing, exposing key figures and suggesting justice may finally be served. As Violet and Henry sit in the hospital room recovering from the events of their harrowing evening, the atmosphere has shifted from survival to healing. The chaos and fear of the night have settled into quiet introspection, and what remains between them is a bond forged not by romance but by shared trauma, honesty, and a fierce determination to protect what matters most. News reports begin to circulate, revealing the extent of the conspiracy they had been swept into. The embezzlement scheme tied to the mayor's office and the corrupt network that Richard was part of begins to unravel publicly. The plot to murder Henry, who had unknowingly become a crucial witness by possessing photographs implicating several city officials, fails spectacularly, thanks in large part to Violet's courage and quick thinking. The photos, which Richard and his associates had desperately tried to suppress, are now in the hands of the authorities. The public outcry begins, and arrests are imminent. But even with the threat behind them, Henry and Violet remain deeply affected. Henry, who had only been looking for a quiet connection after enduring betrayal in his own life, never imagined his first date with Violet would put him on the front lines of a conspiracy. For Violet, the night forced her to confront her past, her perceived failures as a mother, and her capacity to fight back when everything was at stake. Her struggle was never just about survival, it was about reclaiming her sense of agency and protecting the only thing she still had left to live for, her son. In a moment of reflection, Violet admits to Henry that the last dinner she had that resembled anything close to that night was one she shared with her abusive husband, Blake. It had been an apology dinner after one of his violent episodes, an illusion of normalcy layered over a cycle of trauma. That memory haunted her throughout the evening, reminding her of everything she had endured and everything she had once allowed herself to believe. But this night, as terrifying as it became, ended differently. This time, she fought back. This time, she won. What makes the moment so poignant is that Violet didn't win through vengeance or violence alone, but through cunning, emotional strength, and a refusal to be reduced to what others believed of her. She outwitted Richard, saved Henry, and ultimately protected her son without compromising who she had fought to become. In the end, it wasn't just about surviving the night, it was about reclaiming her narrative. As the hospital scene winds down, Henry and Violet share a smile. After everything they've seen, blood, betrayal, fear, they still find themselves laughing. There's warmth in that laughter, a mutual understanding that maybe something genuine can come from even the worst of circumstances. When Henry asks Violet if she'll brave a second date with him, her smile is the clearest answer he needs. They don't talk about gourmet restaurants or exotic dishes. They talk about doing something quiet and simple, something real. Milkshakes. Something boring. Something safe. Something earned. The final image of Violet choosing the strawberry milkshake, light, sweet, innocent, is a small but powerful symbol. After all the darkness she's endured, it's a taste of something pure. A reminder that life can still hold small, kind moments. That after the pain, after the fear, there's still space for laughter, connection, and hope. The story closes not with vengeance or victory, but with a quiet affirmation that people can endure, that healing is possible, and that love, even born in the middle of chaos, might just survive too. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.